Hi, welcome to the Andrew Buckle book review of The Silver Surfer, issue 2, all the way back from 1968. Now, it's not a particularly brilliant copy, as you can see. Got obviously a price stamp of 1 and 9 there, 25 cents originally, and also it's got a good old tape on it, which actually starts to get quite sticky after a while, so it's not always the best thing. However, this was a very cheap copy for me, and I just thought, wow, I must have this copy. I love issue 2 of Silver Surfer. I suspect I will never buy issue 1, but issue 2 is still reasonably affordable, and it features the brilliant, obviously, Silver Surfer, but also Badoon, which I must admit I think is one of the weirdest of covers, because it's got obviously got Silver Surfer and you've got the Badoon, of course, just being blasted there, and you've got some characters, people there running like, when lands the saucer. Very odd way it's constructed. However, no big particular deal. He's not doing very much to the Badoon. He obviously isn't even blasting anyone. He's just sort of. However, when you've got this, I love this bit. This is one little section which I think is just absolutely lovely. They don't do enough of these. I would love to see more often sort of a page like that. And also you've got plus Tales of the Watcher, the coming of the Krills, which is really a lovely little story, watch story. I'm not certain if that's was ever collected. I assume it's been collected in an Omnibus edition or an Epic collection or something, but I can't say I've seen it. Or Marvel Masterworks maybe, because I think they did Marvel Masterworks with The Watcher. Maybe it's in there. When Lands the Saucer, which is very rare actually. Quite often on the cover they put the same title. Sometimes they have a completely different title there, but it's got there. And you've of course got old Silver Surfer again, always going, why was exiled here, etc., etc., all those sort of things. And it's obviously the moons in the background, written by, and you've got all obviously the people there, Stanley, John Buscema, and embellished by Joe Sinnott, brilliant, and Sam Rosen for the lettering. October 1968. Now my copy is fairly tatty, so it probably fall to pieces as I read this. You can see even got some tape inside, and you got this. He obviously goes down, and everyone treats him in the usual way. Let's just what's his name? Cause a bit of a riot here, and I think he had lots of problems there, which I suppose probably if he suddenly turned up in the middle of my town, I suppose people would probably thinking, what's his character? And yet, weirdly, also someone like that panel, because they've obviously just cut a bit out of that thing. However, will it, I wonder, our village will be safe again, he says there. Will it, I wonder. Of course, the Silver Surfer never goes to this village at all, ever again. And he, of course, goes for his usual, his man alone is goaded. It was all real heavy stuff, that sort of thing. However, I cannot be imprisoned in the world without reason. The thing has always got me with this, and it major oversight. He needs, occasionally goes off in a craft or something, he gets inside a like force field or something, and you're thinking, yeah, okay, and you can get past Galactus's thing. Thinking, what if it's that simple? Why don't you just go to Reed Richards and get a rocket and just go off and just get out past the barrier? Wouldn't that be easier? Anyway. And also, he's got the cosmic power. Why don't you just create a rocket himself and then go off? Or make a force field around it, and then it's solved. But that would ruin the story. But it's just an odd occasion. I shall not. And he's always doing the same thing. You think, you try once, you try 100 times. Isn't that just ridiculous? You know you're not going to get past Galactus's barrier, so you've just got to. The will of Galactus is not supreme. He's not infallible. He might have left a little hole somewhere, but he just won't tell you. There's a little gap. Here's the gap. I'm not going to reveal where it is. Just big signpost saying, here it is. But you make it so small you can't get through. And then, of course, you get Ant-Man to help you so you can get through it. However, you got here, Hulk battles Inhumans. I love these old Marvel Masterpiece ones. They're just great. Another Marvel, now on sale. I've got a fly buzzing around. Of course, it's the summer. Always have flies buzzing around when you're doing a video, as guaranteed. Then you got, I must admit, this character always slightly bugged me. Good old Zenlar, and he sort of goes Shalabar, Bal, whatever, my adored one. I thought it was a pity in the story that and of course it was a great opportunity, of course, to have a bit of a recap again. They did quite a few recaps and things, going over about 3 pages of this quite substantial book, just showing basically the same story over and over again of his. I don't know why they didn't introduce sort of a human character that he would fall in love with, Alicia or something. So you would actually have some sort. instead of always having, it was just to me. And I was thinking, well, hang on, if he's been going around all over the universe for 5,000 years, why is she still alive? I mean, really? I mean, unless are they immortal or something? I assume maybe they're immortal on Zenla. It's possible. However, it's just mere quibble on that. But it would have made. And the thing is, recently, the Michael Allred, I love the brilliant, they did Silver Surfer Omnibus, which I loved. It was one of the best. Oh, talking about omnibuses. Of course, this is a brilliant collection. To check out the comic I'm just reading through here. But it's just one of those ones. That was a great story where he actually goes off with obviously just a human, and it's just that relationship. I think when they had this alien relationship, I just always thought it was stupid, mates. Like for me anyway, I was never. It wasn't like Gwen Stacy. It wasn't like Mary Jane or something. It was just to me just not so good a character. But I suppose it did introduce obviously Mephisto, bringing him back occasionally. Created a bit of. However, the Badoon, of course. Weirdly, when they did a recent omnibus edition of the Guardians of the Galaxy, they didn't include this story. And the Badoon was one of the major characters with the Guardians of the Galaxy. So I always thought it was a bit of oversight not to include this issue. To me, this is the origin of the Guardians of the Galaxy, albeit without appearance, but it's still the start of it because they obviously didn't appear. And I always thought that, unlike like the Kree, the Skrulls, Badoon really never get that much of a thing. But they're obviously going around and no one notices them. Though even if the ship was invisible, surely going above people, it would still cause a bit of a draft kind of thing. You think, you might feel it. These people going through, and of course he's in prison. He wants to explore more things, and he breaks out. And then of course go as you do. You go and go off to the Badoon. And he sees all the various things. And they did a similar sort of story quite a few times with, obviously with the next one. There was one with this tyrant story where he's sort of been shown all the stuff. So sort of similarities popped up again. But you got the Badoon. However, they're not truly monsters. I always get slightly annoyed in these stories because at the end of the day, if an alien civilization, they would have a completely different view of the universe to us. We all, they're monsters. Well, to them, we'd be the monsters, etc. That's always the trouble with these stories. There's no universal, this is the accepted way. I would have thought this just seems to be a bit tricky sort of thing. And you've got, obviously, we don't like it, but that's not. But to them, they will have got a completely different view of their world and how they do things. But you got, obviously, she's been, and you're like being lied to, etc., etc. Anywhere in the galaxy, nowhere is safe. The world must be warned. Kind of thing. And of course, which of course gives a twist in the story later on. That was when this woman in many ways was like the Carl Danvers and things. Maybe they could have introduced a character like that, would have made a useful story that would have developed, but they didn't. I love the I'm just going to part 2. I love chapters as well. Chapters are always good. Just break the story. Earth be the prize. I'm not certain because was it the prize for Silver Surfer as well? It just seems a bit odd title, but it always dramatic titles. I detect a faint spark of life kind of thing, which is useful. And you've got, and of course no one, of course, as if someone drops in the street and those sort of things. And, you would immediately think, you know what, I think there is an alien invasion. But of course, we're so, what's your name, that we couldn't think of that. Really? I don't think that someone falls over in front of me in the street. Oh, it's an alien invasion. That would be weird. That would be a bit of a jump of logic. I think that would be beyond most people. I think I'm looking around thinking there must be the Badoon. So you got the Badoon comes in here. It's just great, but still great story. And of course they're blasting away, and then of course everyone. And I love that the monster as well. They got this massive monster that's obviously even as victory dawns, etc., etc. I love all the adverts as well. The adverts are just great. I love these ones. And the story, John Buscema's artwork is just superb. It's just, to me, this is, I know I've been slightly, in odd bits, but to me, it's just one of the best comics ever. I love this, but I can still, you can pick holes in it, of course, but that's the same with any story. You can think, well, hang on, but wouldn't that no, logic of that doesn't make any sense. And of course, they blast and they go. So and also the adverts as well. I love always the adverts. What a weird advert. Intersat 3 satellite Cheerios. Thing that you would advertise with Cheerios. But it's a great yarn and it shows obviously the Silver Surfer at his best. Brilliant story. And what's the next one? Oh, The Surfer's Vengeance is the next issue, which quickly looking over here, it was Mephisto. Of course, you've got all the covers there. I like that. So the Badoon one, it was just now the Badoon sadly never returned. Now I guess if the comic continued past issue 18, which obviously it did in the end, but it's if they had, maybe the Badoon would have returned and we would have had a thing. But of course the Badoon did come back with the Defenders and the Guardians of the Galaxy, etc. And I don't know about elsewhere. Maybe they were in lots of other stories, but I don't think they were as sort of like the Creel Scroll. But you got all the great stories. These, I mean, there was quite a consistently good set of stories. I mean, I think there's only probably a few Duffo stories there, like Doomsday. I mean, that wasn't actually that bad. Maybe Human Torch one. This one, the Shield one, was okay. But I mean, they had some good. I mean, the Silver Surfer there one, that was pretty good. That one, I loved the Tyrant one. That was issue 6. I loved that story. The Frankenstein, the Ghost one, great. And this is a brilliant omnibus. Though there is sometimes some of the art is a bit odd. The restoration wasn't the world's greatest. However, back to this. Just getting slightly off from the subject. What you got is the coming of the Krill, and they offered him the world on a silver platter. Reference to silver there, of course, silver. No, Gene Cohen, just superb. You got obviously Stanley and embellishments, Paul Raymond, and Sam Rose in the game. And you got here, our destination is yonder. Would aliens turn around and say, is yonder? What an unusual word. Marvel Comic Checklist. I love those ones. Of course, Robert Bell. And I don't know why I never, ever went and tried to get the catalogues or order anything contact. 32-page pocket-sized booklet. Now, one thing that's really weird about this one, another thing that's issue, is that there's no Marvel checklist. I loved Marvel checklists. Marvel checklist, the ball pen, all those sort of stands, box, soap box, and those sort of things. A great story. And I love the another Alien Invasion. You've obviously got the Alien Invasion. Maybe that's why they stuck it in this one, the Watcher thing. But I love these sort of backup stories. Backup stories are great. I wish they would do more backup stories. It's an opportunity, obviously not in this case, because Gene Cohen, brilliant artist, but gives you an opportunity for maybe writers and artists that are not, just trying out. So you've got like a 8-page or 7-page story, and you might think, wow, that's brilliant. You want to follow their career. So I think that they should do backups more often. You don't have to have the... Anyway, that's me. What's the name on that? But there's no checklist. I wish but it's got a nice twist at the end, which is good. And again, I always love the bit with the Watcher. I will not, make any sort of... However, he's very opinionated, which is fine. Obviously, can get opinionated, but he's the Watcher. Why should he have opinions about things, etc., etc.? He's blah, 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 Really? It just seems to be... He's observed millions and trillions of things throughout the universe. And he comes to opinion about the humans doing this or doing that. He didn't realise. There's always that moral message at the end. Not really needed because it's pretty big hammers on your head. You think, oh, I know. I can see what the problem was. But what a great issue this one is. The Sentinel of the Spaceway. I don't know why they always put that bit. I always had to have a blurb along the top. Especially since 90% of the comic, if not 100% of this comic, he wasn't on the spaceways at all. So why call it that? However, so he wasn't even the Sentinel, even. But it's still, what a great issue, even if, like I say, it's a tatty issue, and it will probably be even tattier by the end, once I've read it quite a few times. But I just think it's a great little story. Oh, I missed that one. The Avengers. What a great one as well. But look, just the artwork is just absolutely crackingly brilliant artwork all the way through. But yeah, I love that. That was one of my favourite ones. The Avengers as well, Marvel Master. I would love to see a book come out, because they did this Marvel Masterworks one with all the old pin-ups. I would love to see a book of these. I suppose no one's brought out one like that. All these sort of big, lovely, on sale now ones, because I just love these ones. The sort of ones you can't obviously see because I've got them on the wall. But obviously I've got a real tatty issue and one I've got a copy of or whatever, and I've actually just ripped it out and put it on the wall, which is of course why you get these issues where pages are missing. Or you could do obviously a photocopy and just put it on the wall, I guess. what a great issue. I love this one. And if you can find a copy of this, and like I say, this one's a very tatty one I bought in a local shop, and I was so over the moon that they still had a copy, because I picked it up about 3 or 4 weeks ago, put it back, and I went back to the shop, and of course it wasn't there. And I thought, oh no, it's gone. Especially since I looked online and copies are quite expensive. So I was quite relieved that it was still there, but just tucked away somewhere else. So I must have probably put it back. Put it in the wrong place. Guilty. Anyway, totally recommended story. This is just an absolute gem of a story, the old Badoon and Silver Surfer. And they're all pretty great as well, all the other stories. And I've got other ones. I haven't got all of them. I might even eventually, but I'll probably never get issue 1. But some of the others, I think... but I expect issue 4 as well, the Thor one, is always going to be a collector's item. Apparently they were very limited to supply. There was some issue or something I read somewhere, and I thought, oh, didn't realise that. But maybe I won't get every single issue. But this one, absolute pleasure from start to finish. Loved it.